My name is Dr. Austin Tay, and you are listening to Site Chat. Welcome back to Site Chat, where we share tips on navigating the complex world of work. I'm your host, Dr. Austin Tay. To all new listeners, welcome. Hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back. If you're enjoying the show, leave us a review. Honestly, it helps more than you would think. It's how other people discover the podcast. It's 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. You're staring at your screen halfway through some report that's due tomorrow. And this thought hits you out of nowhere. Why does this organization even exist? What am I actually doing here that matters? I'm not talking about some deep existential crisis. Just that uncomfortable moment when you realize you can't remember the last time your work felt like it meant something to anyone, including you. My days in consulting have involved working with organizations that claim to want to make a difference. I was attracted by inspiring mission statements, believing that I could, in my own way, and with the support of the organizations I work for, genuinely make a difference. Sadly, I often felt disillusioned after realizing that stating a mission and actually fulfilling it are two very different things. Why do some organizations make people feel alive, while others make them feel like they are slowly disappearing? And if you have felt this way, and I'm guessing you have, or you wouldn't be still listening, you're not alone. There's actually a bigger crisis unfolding. Trust in businesses at historic lows. Burnt out through the roof. And more people than ever are asking themselves, does any of this actually matter? Here's what we are covering today. I'll share 2 research papers that finally clarified what was missing from jobs I wasn't happy with. More importantly, by the end of this episode, you'll be able to tell if your organization's purpose is genuine or just for show, and know what steps to take next. This is a deep dive, so grab a coffee, but I promise you it'll be worth it. Once you understand this framework, you never view work the same way. I found this editorial from 2023 by Flores, Casuli, and Ferrari called Searching for Meaning in Work and Life. And that title truly captures what's going on. We're living in a time where people are desperately searching. Not just for a job, not just for a salary, but for the purpose. And here's what truly stood out about their editorial. They examined all this research on meaning, happiness, and well-being. And they discovered something that seems obvious when spoken aloud, but has significant implications in our post-scarcity world, at least for those of us in developed economies. People are no longer just working to survive. We are working to find purpose, to feel like we matter. However, management consultants have been promoting organizational purpose as if it were the cure-all. Purpose-driven this, purpose-led that. But actual academic research is all over the place. Some say it's just profit plus doing a little good. Others treat it like a fancy mission statement. Some confuse it with corporate social responsibility. So Flores and colleagues essentially said, we need to understand this better. How do organizations actually contribute to human meaning and well-being? Not just employee well-being, but the well-being of everyone they come into contact with. And that's when I found another paper. Van Ingen and his team conducted a massive study interviewing 44 global experts, academics, practitioners, and founders. Just ask them, what does organizational purpose really mean? These two papers together tell a complete story. The editorial explains why this matters, why people are searching. The empirical study reveals what they are searching for. Let's dive in. Why everyone is suddenly obsessed with this? Okay, so why is purpose even relevant today? For decades, the answer was straightforward. Companies exist to maximize shareholder value, make a profit, grow. That's it. Done. That strategy worked for a time. During that period, we saw rapid technological advance, better living conditions, and the expansion of global markets. Real progress that many could relate to. But we also saw, well, let's be honest, wealth inequality that looks like something from a science fiction dystopia. The 2008 financial crisis, Enron and all those accounting scandals. Climate change is making parts of the world uninhabitable. We are consuming resources as if there's no tomorrow. And at this rate, there might not be. The researchers refer to this as a VUCA world, one that is categorized by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And of course, post-COVID, the world has become brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible, or known as bunny. The world as we know it has become fractured and unpredictable. The old playbook doesn't work. People started to question whether our society is heading in the right direction. They wonder if focusing solely on profit and continuous growth will eventually cause us to destroy what we have worked so hard to build. These doubts have led to a notable decline in trust towards businesses and corporations. Many now feel disconnected and skeptical about the motives behind corporate actions. So what the research actually shows? This is where the Flores editorial proves especially valuable. They didn't merely discuss purpose. They examined extensive research on meaning in work and life. First, they discuss the idea of bullshit jobs, work where people cannot see the value they are contributing to society, where they themselves view their work as pointless. And the psychological impact? Enormous. The economic argument suggests that increasing wages compensates for subpar work. However, this perspective overlooks fundamental human needs such as self-worth, trust, agency, and purpose. But the editorial also reviews research on what actually works, what helps people flourish. They identified this pattern across several studies, what they refer to as the golden thread. 3 key elements keep recurring. Number 1, purpose. The sense that what you are doing has meaning. Number 2, autonomy. Having control over how you carry out your work. And number 3, mutual support. Genuine relationships and backing from others. When organizations get this right, people don't just survive, they thrive. The editorial described it as a symphony of resilience, fulfillment, and flourishing. I love the phrase. Now, one study they reviewed really resonated with me. It asked people what contributing to society actually means. It turns out to be this profound sense of positively affecting other people. And there are 3 dimensions to it. Number 1, matching with your purpose. Alignment between what you value and what you're doing. Number 2, investing personally. Putting yourself into the work. And number 3, balancing contributions with costs. Sustainable impact, not burning yourself out. This isn't simply about having a job. It's about how that job relates to something greater. Here's something that genuinely challenged my thinking. The editorial reviews research on HR practices, specifically where the organizations must choose between employee well-being or performance. Spoiler, they don't. When HR practices support well-being through elements such as job control, development opportunities, and supportive management, performance actually improves. It's not a trade-off, it's synergistic. But here's the catch. It requires genuine commitment and not just checking boxes. The framework, 5 characteristics of real purpose. Now we get to the Van Ingen study. They interviewed 44 experts and identified 5 characteristics that define genuine organizational purpose. This is the diagnostic framework I promised you. Number 1, reason to exist. The organization has an apparent reason for existing beyond making money. It's answering the question, why do we exist? What would be lost if we disappeared? Patagonia's "we are in business to save our home planet" isn't marketing. It drives everything. When faced with a decision, they ask, does this help save the planet? That clarity filters throughout the organization. Here's your audit question. If your organization disappeared tomorrow, what would the world actually lose? If the answer is just some products people could buy elsewhere, or some service competitors already provide, that's a problem. There's no genuine reason to exist beyond profit. Number 2, guiding force. Purpose actually influences decisions. It's not decoration hanging on the wall. It shapes resource allocation, strategic priorities, hiring decisions, and how conflicts get resolved. Here's a brutal test. When there's a direct conflict between purpose and profit, what wins? If profit always wins, your purpose statement is just window dressing. It's performative. I've seen this repeatedly. Organizations with noble purposes statements that, when push comes to shove, make every decision based solely on quarterly earnings. That's not purpose guiding the organization. That's PR. Number 3, collective endeavor. Purpose involves everyone, not just the executive team. Employees, customers, suppliers, communities. It's built together, refined together, lived together. It's not handed down from on high. The opposite. Those organizations where leadership goes on a retreat, announces the new purpose, hangs inspirational posters everywhere, and then wonders why nobody feels connected to it. Because they weren't part of creating it. Real purpose is co-created. It emerges from genuine dialogue about what matters and why the organization exists. Number 4, inspiration. Purpose inspires people. It connects to fundamental human needs. What self-determination theory identifies as autonomy, competence, and relatedness. When these needs are met, people are intrinsically motivated. Real purpose makes you want to get up in the morning. It gives you energy rather than draining it. It makes difficult work feel worthwhile. If your organization's purpose leaves you completely cold, if it feels like corporate speak that could apply to any company in any industry, that tells you something important. Number 5, pursuit of a better world. Purpose is about improving something beyond organizational boundaries. It's about net positive impact, making things genuinely better for people, communities, or the planet. This is where it gets real and where the research is unflinching. Some organizations claim to have a purpose, but actually make things worse overall. You see it in companies with inspiring environmental missions that have supply chains devastating communities, or firms talking about well-being while creating products designed to be addictive. The research calls this out directly. Real purpose requires honest accounting of total impact. You can't cherry pick the good parts and ignore the harm. The gap that matters. Here's where it gets intensely practical. The research identified a concept known as purpose-person misalignment. You can have an organization with genuine, well-articulated purpose. You can have an employee who deeply values meaningful work. But what if those two don't connect? That's where the suffering happens. Think about it. Someone passionate about environmental sustainability working for an oil company, even if that company has initiatives around renewables, or someone who values creativity and innovation is stuck in a bureaucracy where every new idea gets killed by process. The misalignment causes three specific problems. First, you feel as if you are squandering your potential, as if your talents and energy are being directed towards something that doesn't align with what you genuinely value. Secondly, you suffer from constant cognitive dissonance. You're trying to make yourself care about things that truly don't matter to you. Third, you lose the motivational boost that arises from a shared purpose. Work then becomes solely transactional. You exchange time for money and nothing else. I've observed this pattern repeatedly in my consulting work. Bright, capable individuals stuck in organizations that technically have a purpose, but not their purpose. And they are unhappy, not because they are in the wrong career, but because they are in the wrong organization. So what do you actually do with this? First, audit your organization honestly against those 5 characteristics. Not what the website says, not what leadership claims, what actually happens. Does your organization have a reason to exist beyond profit? Does purpose actually guide decisions or decorate mission statements? Is it collectively held or top-down? Does it inspire you? Does it pursue genuine betterment? Be brutally honest with yourself. Don't confuse aspirations with reality. Second, assess your own alignment. Even if the organization has genuine purpose, does it resonate with what matters to you? Do you sense that connection in your daily work? Or does it feel abstract and distant? If you find genuine misalignment, you have options. If the organization has genuine purpose, but you are disconnected from it, it's about discovering better ways to link your role to their purpose. Sometimes it involves reframing your work or exploring different projects. If the purpose is performative, if it fails most of those 5 characteristics, then you need to decide. Can you advocate for change? Do you have the energy and political will to fight that battle? Is it worth it? Or is it time to look elsewhere? Sometimes, after honest reflection, the answer is, this isn't my organization. And that's okay. It's better to acknowledge this and make a conscious choice rather than stay and gradually lose yourself. The purpose paradox. There's one more thing from the research worth mentioning, what they call the purpose paradox. When work is significant, you're more likely to give too much. Healthcare workers, teachers, social workers, their work genuinely matters. But it often comes with burnout because they care so deeply. The research reveals a consistent pattern: high purpose, high meaning, and high exhaustion. Because when something matters that much, you sacrifice more. You push harder, you ignore boundaries. So even when you find that perfect alignment, when organizational purpose and personal purpose connect, be mindful of this trap. Real purpose shouldn't exhaust you. Remember that third dimension of contributing to society from earlier? Balancing contributions with cost, sustainable impact matters. You can't pour from an empty cup, as the saying goes. Look, here's what I want you to remember from this episode. Your frustration with meaningless work isn't a personal failing. It's not that you are entitled, ungrateful, or lack a good work ethic. It's actually a sign of something healthy. You're wired to want work that matters. The framework we discussed today provides you with language for what you've been feeling. The 5 characteristics of real purpose are a reason to exist, a guiding force, collective endeavor, inspiration, and the pursuit of a better world. Use them as a diagnostic tool. Once you understand this framework, you can't unsee it. You notice when organizations are performing purpose rather than genuinely embodying it. When they are talking about meaning while creating meaninglessness. And you'll be better equipped to find or craft work that truly aligns with who you are. The question isn't whether purpose matters. Research makes it clear that it does. The real question is whether your organization's purpose is genuine and if it aligns with yours. And now you know how to distinguish between them. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on our next episode. And leave a review if this was valuable. It genuinely helps others discover the show. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, your work matters. The question is whether your organization is helping you see that. This has been Psych Chat. I'm Dr. Austin Tay. Thanks for listening.